Welcome to Needham School Spotlight. I'm Dan Gutekanst, Superintendent of Schools. I'm at the Hillside Elementary School today with Principal Mike Kaskak. It's a pretty busy campus today, Michael, as we try to share with the community the Hillside story. The community is on the verge of considering and perhaps voting to support the construction of a new school to replace the Hillside Elementary School. And today, Michael, if it's okay, I'd like you and I to take a tour inside the building to really show some of the incredible challenges and problems with this structure and this campus, so that the community can understand that it's time to support a new school for the children of the Hillside community.
Very grateful for that, because you can see it's not just inside, it's outside that we're very crowded. You'll see in a little bit how we're crowded in classrooms and the hallways, but just even it's a gorgeous view here. It's a wonderful spot, but it's a very tight spot. It's hard to access with buses, vans, cars.
And the community has made do for so long, but this building that opened in 1958 or 1959, it's really time. It's a structure that, besides having challenges of the air quality issues as a result of the toxic plume under the campus, just doesn't support and sustain a program anymore. And so it's really time for the community to move forward on a new elementary school. So with that, why don't we go inside and we'll take a look at the Hillside School. Here we are in the gym at Hillside, which is a severely undersized facility for the number of students you have and the programming that you're trying to accomplish at Hillside. What are some of the challenges your teachers face in trying to organize classes and teaching and really just getting through the curriculum?
Okay, well, the biggest obvious challenge is just the sheer numbers. We have 7 full days of gym scheduled, but we only have 5 school days. So we have one gym teacher here 5 days a week, and Catherine, who's here now, is here 2 days a week, Wednesday and Thursday. So on Wednesdays and Thursdays, one of the 2 teachers has to find a different large space, which are few and hard to come by here at Hillside. Today, even though it's overcast and drizzly, Rob has taken one class outside. The 5th graders are outside while the 2nd graders are in. If it's frigid cold or if it's pouring down rain, Catherine may have taken the smaller kids into the lobby, may have taken them onto the stage, which is even smaller than most stages are, or Rob will take them in the classroom and they won't have a physical PE. They'll have more of maybe some yoga or maybe some kind of sports trivia game. It's just improvising a wellness curriculum in a very, very limited space.
Where do they store equipment? Is it over in here?
We have a small area above that closet. That closet stores chairs because this also is our only place that we can have assemblies.
Yep.
So we have 400 chairs in that closet, and we built a loft above it behind the stage, where we stored mats and things like that. We also have storage underneath the stairs downstairs, and Mr. Tatro has 2 carts full of materials that are wheeled out that door, down around, because there's no handicapped access to the building either, so we have to go out the front and down the ramp.
It just when I think about the programming that we aspire to do in Needham and the physical education and wellness and physical activity, I know is very important to you, and I think, like you, I believe that activity really helps kids think and get through their day, and yet here at Hillside it's a constant challenge trying to provide the same level of programming that we do in our other elementary schools.
Right.
And that's something that is really an issue of equity and a way to really try to make our program appropriate for our kids at Hillside. So we're right now positioned in a hallway really between 2 kindergarten classrooms, but my understanding is this hallway is often used for tutoring and for working with children.
Exactly.
And it also is storing a lot of equipment. What's this all about?
Well, the STEAM program we have in Needham.
Science, technology, math.
Exactly. Was our big theme a few years ago. We have a beautiful mural we'd like to take with us to our new school. But we do have a STEAM program like all the other elementary schools. We don't have a space to house it, so we have a fabulous teacher who comes in here on Tuesday afternoon and basically loads up carts for the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grade program, changes them each time she comes, wheels these out, and she needs to have a couple of sets of carts because we have some classes on the first floor, some classes on the bottom floor.
Oh,
no
right.
elevator.
Well, so wait a minute, talk about that. So our STEAM teacher houses her equipment here. She picks and chooses and goes out in a cart.
Right.
On this floor.
On this floor.
On the second floor,
she needs to wheel a cart
we have
out.
A parallel program,
cart.
or she's going outside and
Right.
wheeling it there because there's no elevator.
Exactly.
There's no handicap accessibility beyond a ramp at the entrance of the school.
Exactly. And this is really the only space we had left for her. We had a small cabinet, but the carts really were instrumental in trying to get the program to the students.
Right, right.
The teachers that come in here work over on this side, and if you see,
So again, where we are is this is between two kindergarten classrooms,
right,
and this is really a hallway.
right, it's a hallway,
But what we're using it is for teacher workspace.
right, and the teachers are really resourceful. This doubles as a teacher workspace after school. So we have a book binding machine and a stencil machine and storage for all of those materials. And then the kindergarten teachers, ELL teacher, tutors will come in here, and you see this table slides out, and the students will work here or work on the floor. So there's not a bit of space here at Hillside that we don't use one way or another.
No, everything is maxed out, and of course, I'm reminded. I think sometimes when our public safety officials come through, they cringe a little bit at how we've organized things, but
we have the red tape set up. We try to
That's
keep
right.
things beyond the tape.
right,
so
right. That's one of the things they've asked us to do, to make sure we have a safe egress, and we do.
Safety's always first.
So, Michael, this room, it's divided. It has this divider, but it used to be the nurse's office. Now, the nurse is on the other side of this wall, but you've got this divided with partitions. What is this room, and what's on the other side of the partition?
Well, we couldn't take the whole nurse's office because we needed to have a separate place for kids to lie down if they're not feeling well. So behind this wall are 2 cots where the children would be laying down. I just checked with Debbie before bringing you in here, so there's no students there now. But this is a tutoring space for a special education liaison. It used to be a reading room, so they can access it off the lobby, and it's being used, often. If there's truly a lot of kids that are sick, they can't use this. They'll need to go right out to the lobby and do other classes in the lobby. So we make use of not just the space, but the available time.
So we have a situation where we may have some kiddos not feeling well, or might actually be sick, and they're just literally on the other side of this partition while we're trying to teach some kids on this side. So this is the other side of that wall,
right.
where our Hillside students who may not be feeling well will rest for a little while, and right on the other side of this makeshift partition, we have teaching going on.
Right.
It's not the kind of space that we want for our nurses, for our kids, and it's not the space that we have in our other elementary schools. It's makeshift,
Right.
but it's really not appropriate space at all.
Right. It's makeshift at best. Unfortunately, we're a hardy crew here at Hillside, so we don't use it that as often. But when we do have to use it, as I said,
Sure.
we need to put the academic piece out into the hallway.
Yeah.
We can't put the children not feeling well out into the hallway.
Michael, in the new design of the new school, there's breakout space,
Right.
extended learning areas. So here we have our students and our buddies. We have a great buddy program at Hillside where younger students match with an older student, and they're working together. But in the new, in a busy hallway, in the new building, there's an actual space.
Exactly. We got, just like in the adult world, in the kids' world, it's even more important, collaboration. The kids collaborate with each other. This group, we have 1st and 3rd grade buddy class together. They really can't have 2 classes fit in any of the one classrooms, so we need to have spill-out space for it to do it. The only spill-out space we have at Hillside is out here in the hallway.
I've often said to folks at the new Hillside school, the proposed school, in many ways is designed like Elliott, which does have some breakout space outside of classrooms. And so we're trying to design something that's similar in concept. It's really to provide the space for the programming that we have.
Right, and also with those swing out spaces, if we have smaller programs, like if a newscaster comes from Channel 5 News to talk to one class of 3 classes together, we have a space to put that. We don't have to worry about blocking out the gym, which is already overcrowded. And so we're actually having fewer large assemblies than we really should be having, because we can't take more and more space from the
If you
gym.
wanted to have a grade level breakout presentation of the Science Center,
Right.
for example, you could do it
Right,
that way.
or the Science Center coming to show an animal, or Fireman Sean coming to talk to first grade about fire safety. Right.
What is this? And tell me about the indoor air quality issues at Hillside.
Okay, well, I have been at Hillside actually for 21 years now, and when I first came here, I was told that this is an EPA site, it's closely monitored for air quality conditions, and did a lot of work actually. The two directors of public health a few years ago, 19 years ago now, had a federal grant. I took children, 4th and 5th graders, through the whole neighborhood to look at the sub-slab system, which is a way to take the TCE fumes that might be coming underneath, channel them outside where they do become harmless. And in order to do that, 6 giant tunnels of fans were put in here.
Built under the ground, under the slab at Hillside. So this is a trapdoor. What is it, Walter? What is the? Show us what.
It's going to be the fan with the tunnel is located.
So if they need to work on the fans, they have to come down here to be able to access that tunnel. And you see the gray pipe going off. That goes outside to the building. I could show you that later if you want to see it, Dan. It goes up to the roof of the building. It's a little bit like radon. I don't know enough about the actual scientific piece of it, but once anything that gets stuck down here, if it's stuck down here too much, it could cause our air to not be great. So this prevents that from happening. This, which looks like a fairly archaic system, has actually been replicated all across the country the past 21 years. It was actually state-of-the-art when it was done, and it's still working, knock on wood, wonderfully, because, I don't know, Walter, we never had to shut down. No. We have alarms that go off if there's anything wrong with them. We have 3 days to be able to make sure they're up and running. We've never needed the 3 days. We've never had any readings that put us in any dire mood, but
the reality is we need this system operating at this particular site to keep the air quality safe for the kids. Exactly. And it has been working. But just looking at this elaborate system that's underground at Hillside is an indication that it's time. This is another reason for this school to be rebuilt and for the town finally to get rid of this system and remediate this site. It's really quite an elaborate system.
Right, this is one of 6, and again, all the buildings in the whole neighborhood have a small set on the outside of their house, but a building this large required to have these 6 giant tunnels. And when Walter and our custodial staff does a wonderful job in keeping them clean, clear, and up to date. So,
part of the sub-slab system of mitigating the air quality in the building is this shed and machine outside. What's this all about?
Well, the red shed, it used to be red. They did side it recently, so it looks a little nicer. But the red shed is sort of like, I kind of equate it to a filter on a fish tank. This is where everything comes through, anything that might be bad that they're getting from the tunnels. So we have in here, you can see these, each one of these things are coming from those 6 tunnels that are done throughout the building. Goes through the filter over here, and these are changed out, right?
These are changed.
Yeah, so
Over the summer.
over the summer, these are taken away and new ones are putting in, or they're cleaned and new ones are putting them in, or put in. And this really is kind of keeping the whole.
So all of the air is being filtered from underneath the building into these tanks, which are cleaned out, or filters, as you
And then
say.
they come out there.
And they come out there. And it is similar in a way to a giant radon system in a
Exactly,
house.
exactly. I know it's not radon, it's TCE,
Right,
but
it's
it's a very similar remediation process. But again, the scale of it for a building this size was really quite impressive, certainly back in the late 1980s, and now it's used all throughout construction everywhere.
This is the infamous hill where the TCEs have kind of leached into the soil.
Companies
Comes
up
up
there at the
there,
top of
and
the
they
hill.
come down and they're underneath the soil, in the soil, underneath Hillside.
And the plume is heading that way. As we know, the town has remediated a lot of other parts of the town, the conservation land down there.
You know, it reminds me, it's a significant reason we can't rebuild at Hillside. Besides the site is so cramped,
Right.
you know, I mean, the traffic in the morning, the traffic in the evening is amazing. There's just not enough room, particularly with the wetlands on campus. But the reality to try to disturb all of the soil and rebuild the school here is the challenges and the costs are enormous.
Right. No, it would make a lovely conservation piece. We're surrounded by conservation land. I think we have 27 acres here, 20 of which are non-touchable, and they're beautiful.
Yeah.
But it's not beautiful for a building.
Right.
So, and this is
Certainly not for school.
right. And this is the back of that ELL room that we looked at earlier. And again, we have a lot of issues with the building. One of them that you and I have talked about is no glass windows, which
A lot of the windows are, as they are here, are all plexiglass.
Exactly.
They've been replaced over time, but just with plexiglass.
Right. And our goal right now is
they're
to get-
opaque, and you can't really break out of them if you had to in an emergency.
Exactly. And our goal with our new move to the Alice protocol is to make sure at least every room has one glass window, so we could actually break it if we needed to and get out, because you can't break plexiglass.
So we're in the back of Hillside, and this was the latest addition, and actually the most you can add to Hillside, the modular classrooms. They've been around for how long?
A little more than 15 years. I'd say around 2000 we started to put them in. And the reason why I said all we could put on, it's not only, we did have room and idea for 2 more, but tragically after these were built, and I was a teacher at the time, went in there, the station house fire in Rhode Island happened. So the laws changed even in Massachusetts. So we cannot add onto these portables unless we sprinkle the building.
Entire building.
And the building is so old, it won't be cost efficient at all to pay the tons of money it would take to sprinkle it. So we really are at the limit, both geographically, but also safety-wise.
Practically
We
speaking.
really
just,
can't. We'd have to disconnect the front part and move it over, and it just wouldn't be worth it.
Similar to what we did at Mitchell.
Exactly.
In a way,
Exactly.
yeah. No, we just, it doesn't make sense to do that. And when you look at the modular classrooms, they are, it's time. Modular classrooms, if you get 10, 15 years out of them, you're doing really well.
Right,
Well, we're beyond that, and they just won't last for the next generation. And on the inside, they're worn and getting and showing that age. So it's time for these to be moved on. So Michael, when I look at we have our lockers here, our cubbies, the teacher storage, we have our antiquated air handling system.
This is
what
not
what
part of the air quality system. This is just a fan.
Right,
So.
right. But a little antiquated,
Right.
and I'm not sure. And the storage is for whom?
This is where teachers have to store their kits. These are science kits. These are reading books. You can see over here insects, aquarium. This little cabinet over here is our ELL storage, because the ELL classroom is just too small to even have any cabinets in it.
And whose workstation is this?
This is a workstation where the kids could come out of any of the classrooms here to work one-on-one or two-on-two with one teacher or a couple of kids together. Right, Luke? You've worked at this table before? Okay. Yep.
And again, it's Hillside. It goes without saying, is a fabulous school. The reality is, with a growing student population, with a growing program, it just can't sustain the quality and the needs that.
Yeah, well, we do our best, but we definitely need the space. We're literally at wit's end as far as where we can store anything
I
more.
think you've been creative enough with what you can do.
Thanks.
You are one of our fabulous instructional technology teachers in the district, and so here we are out in the hallway, and is this your office? Tell me what this is all about.
Actually, yes, at times it is when we can't get Wi-Fi around the building. I actually do hold classes in the halls, sometimes in the lobby, other times downstairs by the cafeteria, just because our infrastructure is lacking a little, in need of some help.
And is there Wi-Fi on the cabinet? Or is
There
it
is-
mobile Wi-Fi?
No,
No,
it's reliant on the Wi-Fi in the building.
Okay,
Yeah, but we make it work as best we can,
right,
because that's what we do.
right. Well, I appreciate the creativity.
Yeah, thank
All right,
you.
thank you. So one of the other challenges at Hillside is making sure the bathrooms are up to code. The town has done a nice job of keeping the bathrooms as clean as possible, but the reality is there are no handicap accessible stalls. It's vintage, and it needs to be clearly remodeled and renovated. The conditions, a drain pipe in the middle of the bathroom. These are things that just we shouldn't have in our schools.
The most important thing that you mentioned here was the whole vintage part. 21 years ago when I came here, I used to say it was fashionably retro, but that's 21 years now. So even all of that, it's really hard to keep up with the plumbing. It's hard to keep up even though we put new stalls in. You can see the ventilation in here is not the best in the world. The heating system, it's in need of an upgrade overall.
It's been great today to tour the Hillside School with Principal Kaskak and meet his teachers and see his students in action. Hillside is a wonderful school community, and despite the challenges, they continue to have children participate in rigorous and exciting and creative programming. But the reality is, it's time. It's time for the community to step forward, as Needham has traditionally done, to support its children and its schools, and really step up and on November 8th go to the polls and make a decision about whether or not it's appropriate and timely to replace this building behind me. I know this community well, and I'm really proud of the support that this community has for its schools. And I hope that you've learned a lot or a little bit more about the Hillside School, and that everyone will come out to vote on November 8th. So, thanks very much.